If you've ever lost weight and gained it back and gone through that constant cycle, then you've probably failed at stage 2. Understanding where you are at in all 3 stages and knowing how to get to the next stage will make fat loss a lot faster and a lot easier. So here's everything you need to know. Stage 1, laying the cement. This is the stage where you are new to fat loss, or maybe you've taken a look in the mirror or something has happened in your life and you're ready to get back on track. Then you are in stage 1. In this stage, motivation isn't a problem. Having time commitment and setting a structure that is going to work for the long term is the problem. It's like building a new house. You have to lay the foundation down, lay the cement, put up the walls, put the roof on. You have to do the basic stuff that takes a lot of time and heavy labor. I want you to think about it like this, because this happened to me very recently. I have now started a YouTube channel. So you're watching my 3rd video. Thank you for watching. But when I first started this whole YouTube thing was not easy. It took a lot of time up front. I had to figure out where to put the dang camera, how to set up lighting. You know how long that took just for that alone? It took me literally like an hour or more. I had to now figure out how to take the footage off of the camera using editing app that I thought was gonna be easy, when in reality, way more complicated than it looks, and that's why people hire editors. Throughout that process, I had to even figure out how to do a little bit of a backdrop, where you see where I put text on. It took me like over an hour just to figure out a little bit of the color of it. That overall editing process took me about 4 hours, or maybe even a little bit more than that. I had to figure out a concept of the video. I had to figure out a thumbnail, a title, how to actually post the video, what to put in the description. That took me literally probably about like 3 hours, or maybe even more than that. Now, I'm no rocket scientist, but that adds up to about 8 hours, or probably even more. I'm being generous on that. Then I went on to make my 2nd video, and then now my 3rd, and I've cut that time in half. I didn't do anything magical. I didn't do anything crazy. What I did was I put a lot of upfront time and a lot of upfront work and effort that now I have systems a little bit in place. I have structures in place. I have styles in place. And now I just continue to tweak them along the way to my liking. I could have sat here and planned forever the perfect way to do the lighting, the perfect way to edit, the perfect way to do this and that. And that would have kept pushing this off more and more. The only way to do this was to just lay the cement down, set the foundation, and continuously start tweaking my structure along the way. I just had to put the actual time and effort into this. This is how fat loss works. You aren't struggling with motivation in stage 1. You are struggling with learning how to track your foods, how to take those foods, put them on a weighing scale, and then put them into an app. You are struggling with learning how to manage your time for working out, and when is the best time to go for walks, when is the best time to fit this into your schedule that's going to work the best for you without you skipping. You are struggling with learning how to plan your meals. You have to look up recipes, go to the grocery store, buy them, and then also make sure that they fit into a calorie deficit. That first week of stage 1, maybe even 2 weeks, is a lot of upfront work of just learning and not even much thinking, to be honest. It's just putting the time and effort into it. If you've taken that first step, there's a very good chance that you're already motivated. You aren't struggling with motivation during this time. You just have to put your head down and put time into this, because the coming weeks after will get faster and easier. Literally anything that you do during this time, you will just continuously get better and better and better at it. So how long is this stage? Typically during this time, it tends to be 3 to 4 weeks for most people, or it may be the first 4 to 8 pounds. Why? Because your initial motivation has now died off after this point. That is when stage 1 ends. Some people keep revisiting stage 1 over and over and over again because they can't figure out how to get over that stage 1 hump going into stage 2. So here's how to do it. Stage 2, selecting the paint. 90% or more of people fail at stage 2, and here's why. Motivation drops. It's not the new shiny object anymore. That initial excitement is gone. The foundation is set. The walls are up, the roof is on. Now you are selecting the paint on the walls. You're looking at hundreds of different paint, trying to envision what it looks like, getting little palettes, seeing, oh, do I like this one? Do I like this shade? And then trying them out. You have that foundation set. Now you are just making small tweaks along the way. I think about stage 2 like my German Shepherd. She loves to be trained. When I mean loves to be trained, she could do it for an hour or 2 hours, and she gets pumped up, like super excited. Now, when I'm introducing something new to her, I have to make it just challenging enough that she still gets motivation and reward when she achieves it. Let's take a stay command, for example. If I were to just put her outside with a bunch of dogs walking around, a bunch of people walking around, and I'm trying to get her to stay for the first time ever, she's so much more likely to fail, and I'm making this almost impossible for her. So what's she gonna do? Get very defeated early on and not want to be trained in the moment anymore. But one of the best things that I can be doing is Go into an environment that's closed, no noises, no distractions, and start teaching her how to stay under very short periods of time. And then over time, I start making this more difficult by adding a little bit more time, adding a little bit more distractions, maybe making noises, clapping, throwing things, having somebody walk in the background, and then slowly making this more challenging more and more and more, because to her, that is going to be just a little bit out of reach, but it is achievable. And then when she achieves it, she almost gets motivation from that and wants to keep going. And then maybe several weeks or several months go along, she gets better and better and better to the point that she can now stay with tons of distractions around. Stage 2 is where you stop trying to lose weight fast and you start trying to lose weight easily, which is where most people go wrong. They expect progress to be way faster than it was. They see that first week of progress and maybe the scale drops about 5 pounds. Maybe they're actually seeing fast progress in those first couple weeks, and then they expect this to continue the rest of the weeks and months going on. You try a completely different diet after 3 to 4 weeks, and then a completely different workout routine, and you keep switching this up so much instead of just working with what you had and making small tweaks. All about finding that little living room paint that you like, and then you get a little bit of motivation because you finally found one. Now you move on to the bedroom and then to the kitchen, and then you keep having a little bit of motivation because you are achieving and getting closer to your end goal. It's not about changing things entirely. It's about sticking to what structure you have now built in stage 1 and making small tweaks along the way and trying a little bit of different things. So for example, let's say you have a breakfast meal that you've been doing consistently. Now you make a small tweak to it, maybe adding a vegetable into it, adding 5 grams of fiber, adding 10 grams of protein, instead of just changing it entirely and chalking it up and thinking you should try something completely different. It's not about changing your entire cardio or workout routine. It's about adding an extra 1,000 steps. It's not about cutting out ice cream entirely. It's about learning how to have it maybe once a week. Stage 2 is about refining the structures and systems that you already have and trying them and see if they work or not, and then pivoting if you need to. This is about making it into a lifestyle, not something where you just run off of motivation, try it for several weeks, and then completely change it and run off of motivation again. It's about building the structure that you have and refining it. If you can make it past phase 2, where most people fail, then you will fall into the small percentage of people who are able to hold weight loss off forever. But it's extremely possible, and here's how. Stage 3, moving the furniture. Once you get to this stage, weight loss is now on easy mode. But if you fall into complacency during this time, it is very easy to go from stage 3 right back to stage 1. It's no longer about weight loss anymore. You've laid the foundation, you've painted the walls, the countertops, the cabinets are now in. Now you just put the furniture in the dang house. You move it to see if you like it by the window, to see if you like the light coming in this direction. Maybe 6 months later, you move it a little bit more to spice things up. You are happy with where you're at now, but you're just making small little tweaks and small little adjustments to really round it out. This is like fat loss. Walking and workouts now, if you skip them during this time, you now feel guilty when you do this because it's not in your routine anymore. I remember when we went to Costa Rica during this time, I didn't even want to skip a workout. I felt guilty if I did. And actually, when I did do workouts during this time and on vacation, I actually felt a lot better. I didn't feel sluggish because it was part of my routine. It was part of who I was. It was part of my lifestyle. In phase 3, adding protein at breakfast, lunch, dinner, this becomes automatic to you now. You fluctuate between the same 5 to 10 pounds for different phases of your life. You don't need motivation anymore during this time, although motivation will happen typically due to the result and the actions of you being consistent. It just becomes who you are now. It becomes your lifestyle. You feel worse when you don't do these things. But this is what you need to watch out for. If your approach in stage 1 and stage 2 was so extreme to the point that you can't sustain this forever in stage 3, then it is a fast track way to go right back to stage 1. And you will end up just repeating this cycle. This can be doing things such as cutting out your favorite foods, cutting out maybe alcohol completely if you are someone who wants it in your life. If you took an approach to a diet where you cut things out entirely that you loved, then guess what? What's going to happen when in stage 3 comes along and you reintroduce them back into your life? You're not going to know how to manage them, how to control them, how to actually not gain a ton of weight back. But when you learn how to include them into a calorie deficit in stage 1 and stage 2, then stage 3 is so much easier and you're able to keep this off forever. If you want to not only get to stage 3, but maintain it and sustain it, then I've made a whole free mini course on how to lose weight that will take all the guesswork out of it for you. I've lost 70 pounds and not only been able to lose it, but have been able to keep it off for 7 years. And if you want the same result, then I would suggest you watch this video here where I give you 20 cheat codes to fat loss.